This episode of Runner's Block is brought to you by Noom.
Noom.
Now, Blocktoberfest is done.
Mm-hmm.
Great month.
Mm-hmm.
But we're starting something new this month.
Well, kind of keeping going with something new, right?
Right. But we have a title for it, so it feels feels significant. Noomvember. That makes a lot of sense, and it's great, and it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Noomvember is just we're committing to do Noom every single day. Anthony and I are.
Mm-hmm.
And we are inviting our listeners to join Noom if you have not yet by going to bit.ly/runnersblocknoom. That's bit.ly/runnersblocknoom. And start Noom in November if you haven't yet. And if you're already a Noom subscriber, we've had dozens of people sign up with us. Then commit to doing Noom every single day. Now, what does doing Noom every single day mean, Anthony? Can you tell folks?
Okay, so you wake up. Here's how my Noom day works.
I'd love to hear it.
Whiz, and then weigh in.
Right, because with Noom, you weigh in every single day and record it on the app. Yep.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So record that, then go for a walk, go for a run, do your thing. But basically, you spend the day learning. It's got fun articles. You enter all your stuff into this super easy to do app.
So you record everything that you eat that day. So it is a meal tracking app. But like you said, there's also these 3 or 4 short, interesting articles that you read every day. And that's part of completing your Noom day. So what we're committing to is the weigh-in, the meal tracking, and the learning every day. Also, you can put how much water it tracks your steps, all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it syncs with your watch.
It's like a really holistic health app. And I've said this before, and I've got some proof that it helps me actually lose weight and keep it off. So since September, when we decided we're going to do this every day, I have lost, drum roll please, 4 pounds.
Nice.
And kept those 4 pounds off.
Slow and easy, dude.
All right. Well, people should join us. bit.ly/runnersblocknoom. Join us in Noomvember. Let's get healthier, nation.
You know what? Let me just encourage people. These 2 months, we do eat a lot of stuff. So don't just make that an excuse. Let it all out. We did that last year. That wasn't good.
No. This is it's a new day, Noomvember.
It's a Noom day.
bit.ly/runnersblocknoom.
Get away from the idea of motivation being the only thing that's going to propel you forward, because motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. We have it for a little bit and then it's out the door. Discipline is where you need to put all of your chips.
Yeah.
Because discipline is what gets you to your goal.
You're listening to Runner's Block, a Two Gomers podcast about regular people chasing big goals by confronting one barrier at a time. This is Block 23. We need a training plan for the week of November 1st, 2021, 17 weeks to the race.
Welcome, everybody, to the 23rd episode of Runner's Block. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Wait, it's not Halloween anymore. I was doing Halloween sound, but we're past Blocktoberfest. Did you have a good Halloween? Scary? Was it scary?
Not scary at all. Super fun. So actually, okay, I got to give a plug to our Patreon right now. Our Gomercrons are actually right now enjoying our most recent episode, which is straight from the Gomer Vault running lessons from 2011, right?
Yeah, yep. Did you get to listen to that?
Yeah, I listened to about 40 minutes of that earlier today.
Okay, yep.
I mean, not to pat our own backs, it is such a time capsule. It's ridiculous. I'm not a dad yet. Parenthood is the #1 show on TV. Conan is crushing it over on TBS.
How I Met Your Mother with Tammy Sager, a listener, right, as the writer. Remember, dude? She put Gomers into the show. We've got that recorded still. Yep.
She put Super Nintendo and Mario Kart in there for us. Remember?
Yep. Yes, I do. Wow, what an honor. I mean, that's right up there with you being on the Today Show.
Totally. Amazing.
Yeah, you're right. Total time capsule. We sound so young, dude.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. Like,
yep.
And I also think part of it is just the tech. Like, I think
you're right. Yeah.
If we went back and recorded with those same mics again, I think it would sound similar. Like your laugh is more genuine now.
I was gonna say the same thing about your laugh.
Yeah, I guess we've gotten.
But there's a lot of fake laughing.
Yeah.
Early years, I think. Haha.
Yeah, for sure.
Hee hee ha ha. Yeah, but you're right. I think our laughs have developed. I actually think we're more authentic now than we are then, because then and we had the pressure of, we knew we were charging for that episode, so we're like, better be good, and so it feels a little stilted and a little bit planned, and now we're kind of like, all right, let's talk about seltzer for 10 minutes. Like, people are gonna be fine with it.
Whatever. But just review cereal for an hour.
That's probably it. Now we have permission to make entire episodes about Reese's Pieces.
But okay, so I was listening to that.
Yeah.
Because you were in charge of hosting that episode and putting that out. So I hadn't even gotten a chance to listen to it in like 10 years.
Right.
And the thing that blew me away and that I wanted to talk about with Halloween was you talked about basically Tron Guy.
Right,
so, like,
I remember.
And you didn't mention that in the hosting, so that was such a great surprise. So
I forgot, yeah.
This has kind of been a theme of this season, is like faithfulness, what you want the second half of life to be like, all that kind of stuff. And so 10 years ago, it's so fascinating actually that 10 years ago we were talking about that exact same thing.
It was a guy in my neighborhood in his probably 70s or 80s that I was inspired by. It seemed like a new idea to us. And then here's what I think is funny. When you had your own 70 or 80-year-old guy in your neighborhood running, I was like, oh, interesting. Completely forgot that's a part of my own running story.
That's the thing. That's why it's so fun, even for us. Still, it sounds so self-congratulatory, but to like listen to a time capsule from 10 years ago, because it's like we're rediscovering something we already knew. So it's like, maybe if we would just mine some of that gold, we could actually have learned some things and then build on that instead of.
I thought of that same thing, and then I chose instead to be thankful that we're still doing this.
Yes,
and if we're learning the same lessons over and over again, great. If we're acting on that and becoming healthier, even though I'm sure listeners all the time are like, you learned that 6 years ago.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you already said that.
But that maybe it's part of the charm. We continue to be doe-eyed listeners and learners, and whatever helps us get healthy, we're gonna relearn it if we have to.
So we're out there doing our trick-or-treating, doing our thing, having a blast. I mean, the entire neighborhood was out. It's so like amazing because it's like outdoor stuff. People are feeling more comfortable with that. And we get to the top of this one hill, and I hear the sound of the guy that sounds like Tron Guy.
Okay.
Passing out candy. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
like,
you're going to be able to see the home of Tron Guy. Is that what's happening?
So
wow.
If this is your first episode for some reason, I don't know why.
You should have been listening a long time ago. Are we scolding these people? Why is this your first one?
Well, I don't know what so
I think people might be like, they could be looking up training plan.
Sure.
Right?
Okay. So if you're looking up training plans,
this could be their first one.
Absolutely. Yep. There's this guy in my neighborhood. There's actually two different ones. So there's two different Trons. And the reason we call them Tron is because they're always running super early in the morning with like LED vests. So
right. He's got like a LED ribbing on his outfit that look like the Tron outfit. Yep.
And the thing that we love about them both, and the guy in your neighborhood or your old neighborhood or your like 4 times old neighborhood, is that they're out there pounding the pavement in their 60s,
Faithful.
70s, 80s,
Yep.
faithful, long obedience in the same direction. This is exactly who we want to be. And so
We
I
want to
see
be that when we
him,
grow up. Yep.
every morning. And so I heard him because he always says, "Hey, puppy."
Right.
Whenever he sees me in Indy, he goes, "Hey, puppy." I recorded it. I
Yep,
always
you texted
videotape
it to
him
me.
and send it to you.
You do.
The worst looking videos.
It's like you walking and swinging your phone just so you can get that video and a quick shot of him.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
puppy. Yep.
So I hear that, but I see a huge plate of full-size candy bars from that guy. So Tron guy is the guy handing out, and dude, I'll send you a picture of the table. He laid out a table, and there are 100 different variety of full-size, king-size candy bars.
Dang, that's expensive.
I know, dude.
You're shelling out a lot of money for those full sizers. You must love your
Yeah.
neighborhood, Tron guy.
Yeah, man, he loves his neighborhood. But I just thought it was interesting that Tron guy, the guy that we hold to such high health esteem, is just like
Butterfingers.
yeah. He was like, want one? Want one? He's like saying that to all the parents. Take one.
Yeah,
So-
you took one, I hope.
I took a Reese's peanut butter cup. I felt
Okay,
bad because
good.
we were like trick-or-treating started at, I think it was 6.
Uh-huh.
And so we were like the first crew, and our
Yeah.
neighborhood is like super amazing. Like it's a great neighborhood for trick-or-treating because there's just tons of houses and everybody's out. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to take candy from a baby, you know, like
Taking candy from a Tron guy. It's
Take a
as
trick-
easy as
take-
taking candy from a Tron guy.
yeah. So that's Halloween was fun. Great steps.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we-
Tell me about it. Those steps go up on a night like Halloween.
Oh yeah, actually everybody crashed. You know what I mean? Like we get back, we
Yep.
probably did 2 miles in costumes.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, especially if you have little kids. Knocks them right out.
Unless you're also feeding them candy the whole time, then it has some
Yeah, that's
weird,
true.
it backfires in some weird way. Now, our kids
true.
are too old for trick-or-treating, but Jack went anyway. He's 15.
Yeah.
But you can still get away with it, right? When you're 15.
Nobody cares. Our neighborhood doesn't. They were handing out candy bars to adults, right?
Right, exactly. So end of an era, we did our final family costumes. If you follow me on, what is it, Instagram, my full name,
Yep.
Steve, at Stephen Grauman, you can see 10 years of family costumes. We did our last one because Noah's graduating this year. Now, I got the idea for our costume from you long before we did an ET month last month on the Patreon.
Yep.
Because when I was doing work in my house, scraping those popcorn ceilings, I had one of those hazmat suits on. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And you commented on it. You look like one of those guys at the end of ET.
Yeah. Keys.
And that's the seed of the idea for this year's costume. We did ET. I was Keys in and out of the hazmat suit. Jack was Elliot. Noah was Mike. And Jessica was the mom in that like cat suit. Oh,
right. I was
baby.
gonna say ooh la la, but that's wrong.
Baby,
I knew
Halloween.
you were
It's the biggest. It's the biggest loss from not doing these family costumes anymore. My once a year living fetishized. Anyway, it was awesome, but our neighborhood sucks for trick or treating.
Oh man. Yeah, your new neighborhood. Oh man.
New neighborhood. There's a lot of old people that live here, which is great. Our neighbors are awesome, but not many kids. Little kids.
Right. And do older neighbors like want to still like let people, like approach their house?
It's the most depressing situation, which is everybody wants to give candy out, and there just
Yeah.
aren't kids to give them out to. And so
Oh, okay.
lots of Halloween decorations, everybody's excited, and then just we don't get the traffic. And so we had to do this thing. So Jack and his friends went down the street and pleased everybody and got lots of candy. But we had to drive them to a different neighborhood where where the getting was good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I didn't get as many steps as you and also he does not want me tagging along to trick or treat with
for
him.
sure.
And so usually the top of the episode is us giving a running update, but this is a walking. You got lots of steps in that night. Very proud of you. And saw the Tron guy. Good stuff.
Tons of steps. Met Tron guy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't tell him about the podcast. I'll talk to him some other time. And did eat a lot of candy that day, but I'm sticking with my atomic habit. So doing Noom, and then a couple of my other atomic habits are no eating after 8.
Okay, great. Love it.
I've got no beer November.
Okay.
Because we're gonna have to do an episode soon, just called because we're actually recording this after what you're about to listen to. We've already started the strength training regimen that you're about to hear about, and man, the episode should be like my beer belly or something like that. The beer belly is legit.
That's a block. It is legit.
The beer belly is legit, and I know it can be a soda baby or like a carb belly, but
spare tire, one could say, right? If you don't want to specify what is making it a belly. Yeah.
It's just dormant flesh that's doing nothing.
I love it. Unless you're working out, then it's doing something. It's getting in the way.
It's
flapping and flapping all over the place.
It's a big battery that's waiting for there to be no food so that you can live off of it for a while. Like it's a battery that just keeps charging.
Right, that we never use.
Totally.
Okay, so speaking of that, we're about to pass you into the block here. Laura is our guest. This episode actually feels, I think, a bit different than our regular episodes because it is so running and exercise centric, because we brought her in because, we finally decided what race we're going to run end of February in Atlanta.
Yep.
And so we wanted to get a training plan, speaking of atomic habits. And so we had Laura on, and man, we just talk about that, and she tells us this training plan, and it's very exercise centric. And so just people should just be ready for that. If you're looking for a training plan, this is a great episode for you. If you're looking to do this with us, we're going to post that training plan. It should be on Instagram right now. We'll also post a link to it. I don't think that we say that in the actual block, but we would love to have people join us with that. So maybe we should just pass it right over to the app.
Let's do it, dude.
Meet me at Omar's. Be ready for me. I'm going after that truck. Oh. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
Hey, how's it going? I really need a training plan. I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do. And I've already swapped out beer for LaCroix, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, got a friend on here that's going to help us out. All right, here we go.
Well, yeah, that's step one. Less Coors Banquets.
More LaCroix. This versus that.
So I woke up this morning so excited. It was like Christmas morn.
Yeah, it was.
Because I have been running for too long without a plan. And I know that we're welcoming our guest. Hi, Laura.
Hi, guys. Hi, Gomer Nation.
Hey.
We actually asked Laura to come and help us with a training plan because she's a coach. She has experience in this. You were just telling us, Laura, that you were coaching someone who just ran the Boston, right?
Yes.
And they started from nothing and went to Boston?
Well, they had done half marathons that had been in their wheelhouse, but Boston was their first marathon. And we started that training, I want to say we started June, middle of June, she started that training. Okay. So she had a pretty lengthy training cycle for that one. But yeah, she finished it. She wears that jacket proudly now. And I know, nothing like your first marathon.
Have you done the Boston?
No, because I either have to get really old and time qualify or raise lots and lots and lots of money. Those are my two options. I got to wait till I'm at least 85 and then I can maybe qualify, but I have not done it. Yeah, it's on the list. It's on the list.
Okay, so we knew that you have coached, you do coach people reaching their goals. I don't know how you feel, Anthony, but even though I have been running, it's part pandemic, and so races have not been available, and so I just don't have a training plan when I don't have a race, but I would say that my running has felt pretty aimless. Yeah, that's a great word. Aimless, right? Just like
totally.
I'm just like whatever. I'll go out and I try to do 3 or 4 times a week, but if I don't remember that I didn't. And just without. So what we identified was we need a goal, and so we picked a race. That felt like a huge step for us.
Big
and
commitment.
then that was several weeks ago, and then we've been realizing, gee whiz, we need a training plan. So that's why I felt like Christmas morning, because I haven't had one for so long.
Yes.
I was like, ooh, I can't wait for this.
And haven't had like a custom one by like a professional ever.
Oh, we never have. Yeah, we've
this is
never
like
had
literally
that.
it is Christmas. This is so cool.
I'm so excited. It's so funny because you keep saying Christmas, and I was going to laugh and tell you guys, like, you picked a time to do a race to train during the like holiday season, which is always like its own added layer of challenge to it as well, because of everything that's going on. But I know that you both will rise to the challenge. And then I always give in my training plans when I know people are going to be going through some kind of holiday, or there's that, stuff like that in the books for them already. You'll see even on training plans, I'll be like, holiday miles, which might even just consist of, oh, are you going shopping with your family? Let's clock that as walking miles today.
Yeah.
My Disney runners know, because I'll put Disney miles down, and it literally means just the mileage you're going to cover walking around a theme park all day long. Like that's going to count as time on your feet and time on your legs.
Well, it's interesting that you say this, Laura, because Anthony, maybe you can help me remember. We've done most of our training this time of year over the years. We've just happened to choose early spring races or something. And so
we've done January, February, March, and June races, and actually May. Yeah, Conquer the Capital was May. Yep. I mean,
we've never done a fall race, and so we've always either started or been in kind of the real heavy training around the time of year that we're about to enter into. So that doesn't feel new to us, but
good. Okay.
Neither do the challenges of it. That it being Christmas is hard sometimes.
Holiday is great. I love it. Like,
yes.
Honestly, that doesn't bug me too much. It's something fun to do. It helps with the battle of the bulge to like actually train during, I mean, even the fact, like, we had this goal last year of lose 20 in 2020, lose 20 in 2020. And it was kind of up and down. But I'm glad that we did it, at least starting at the beginning of the pandemic, because it was like, had we not done that, I don't even want to know what would have happened. So it's like heading into the holidays on a crescendo of training, I'm actually excited about, because otherwise we end up in January and it's like, oh shoot, now I'm just dig myself out of this hole.
Yeah.
So when we have trained during that time of year, it feels like we're kind of a step ahead of New Year's resolutioners, right? We're already in our resolutions, and a lot of them health-wise for sure. And so it's like re-upping at the beginning of January instead of like, wait a minute, maybe I've failed through the whole year, and then it's this one day I'm going to not fail anymore, and that lasts 5 or 6 days.
Yes. And it's actually quite nice too, because you also get to have that, there's always that little bit of a post-holiday depression that everyone goes through when it's like, we have to take down the Christmas decorations or the holiday decorations. And when you still have something that you are looking forward to after the holidays, I think it makes that whole time so much, so much better than just, kind of sinking into it.
Super true. Okay. So we asked you this week, this has all happened pretty quick. We asked you this week if you'd be willing to help us develop a training plan for our half marathon. We're doing it in Atlanta, February 27th. Okay. So you were like, great, I'll do that. I'll come on the podcast. We'll talk through it. I'll send you a training plan the morning of. Okay. So then you send us this training plan. I'm just going to be completely honest, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
So you send us this training plan, and I open it up. It's a nice Excel doc, which my love language, an Excel doc. I open this up and I'm like, what the is this? Sorry, I don't know if we're gonna have to bleep that out to avoid the E. But I was looking at it like, what?
I know, and I was just going about my day at school, and then I didn't see the email first. I saw the DM on Instagram where it's like, bad. All I saw was bad news. And I was like, oh no, did they have to cancel today? And like I click it, they were like, this might be a little bit more advanced than what we are. And then I went to the email because I was like, I gotta get the Zoom link. And so then I saw the novella that was like, here is what we have. And both I responded.
Who we are and why it will not work with what you sent us.
And then I of course responded. I was like, oh my God, of course. Obviously I also started you a month early because of my planner, the way it was set up. I thought I was in February. I was actually still in January. But yeah, looking and now being able to go over it with both of you here and kind of what the psychology of it is.
So I was a little freaked out because I was like, I don't feel so this is me, and maybe Anthony, you can talk about how you feel about this. I was like, if I see this schedule and if I'm going to say I'm going to do it, then I want to actually do it. And I felt like what we got from you initially was something I couldn't do. And so then I felt like bad or like guilty. Like, should I be in a place that I'm not? Is Laura used to dealing with like people that are way more advanced than us, and she's going to think we're so dumb that we can't do this right now? So all of that is going through my mind. I'm freaking out. I sent you that email, which was basically like, we're not at the level that this is at. And then Anthony and I had a conversation. Anthony's like, this looks great besides the mileage and the time. And so we can talk about the training plan soon. But basically you have some runs that are time based, a certain amount of time, and some runs that are mileage based, and both of those times and mileages were making me freak out. And so Anthony was like, this is okay, we just have to lessen the number. Is this what was happening, Anthony? Did you feel like that?
Yeah, so I looked at, so like the first thing that I noticed was that there's something every day. And so like
except for
Sunday,
me, I'm
like,
that's your rest day.
Yeah. No, you have the rest day.
Yeah.
That 100%. No. I mean, every good, endeavor has to build rest into it, right? So, obviously, you're a pro and you already did that. But what I noticed was like the cross training, kind of strength training, core, easy run, long run, stuff like that. And so, I was actually really excited about that because it's like I like it when it's like, here's what you have to do, now do it. Like I'm totally into that.
I love it
thing
too.
was that, and so does Steven. Obviously, that's his love language.
Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Do it.
Right. The thing was, like, I ran 3 miles yesterday, and I was noticing that next week I'd have to run 75 minutes, which for me would be like 6 miles. And I was like, oh crap. So I was like, my max right now was 3 miles. And next week I was going to do like a 5 miler and then a 6 miler and then a 5 miler. And I was like, oh, shoot. So I just felt like super behind. And so I was just like, this is great. If we could just have, have this?
Yes.
This?
Yes.
This, right.
What's the right verb? Is
Where
it?
So that's so great to know. Usually, well, now that we know I'm a month ahead of you guys, as we were like I was trying to.
Which was a relief to hear.
That's actually what I texted Steven. I was like, if this schedule said 12-1 instead of 11-1, I'd feel a ton better. I actually crossed it out. I crossed it out on my thing here and wrote 12-1. And I was like, wait, that made me feel a ton better.
Right.
Yeah.
And Laura, we're not going to show you our text string, but it's gold, because I was like, I think she thinks we're someone else. Maybe she confused us with this Boston Marathon person.
Oh my God.
She
Okay.
sent us this girl's one, and she doesn't know that she accidentally sent us the wrong thing. And Anthony was like, she got the date wrong. There's no way she thinks we can do this. And so we knew something was like, okay, there's probably some, there probably were several things. And then I was just like, but we're just going to have to talk through this because I'm assuming Laura's going to be like, oh, okay, well then let's just change it.
So shall we talk about this plan, break it down and show what is on there? Okay. The first
actually,
thing
I'm going to share screen so that we can all be looking at it together. And if people are watching along, they can see this too.
Perfect.
So I think it's helpful to maybe to hear from me now, Laura, that I really do like all the elements of this. I'm really excited to learn about what they all mean. Anthony was saying that to me also on the phone before, like all this stuff looks amazing. We just have to maybe tweak it a little bit. And I totally agree with that. Okay.
So, So first thing I will start off by saying, when you first initially look at this, usually when I do a training plan for runners, I will only give them a month to show them a month, because what I've learned is that if runners are given too much, if I just gave you your entire plan, you'd already be looking at the later part of the plan and having all those moments in your head, like, how am I going to get there? This is so much, all of that. So I tend to stay in like, here's your first month. Let's just focus. And so when you just look at the plan, if you're just looking straight down on it, one thing you will notice that is probably more than you've had in other training plans is dedicated strength work, where it's like, that you are going to have
different than we've ever done.
Sure. Which is actually the case for a lot of runners. Cross training and strength training usually tend to be what falls by the wayside in a training plan because we automatically think mileage in our head. We're runners, so we need to get the miles in.
Okay. Now I see it looks like it's twice a week is strength training.
Yeah,
usually?
2 strength trainings and 1 cross training, which would be the next non-running day. And for anybody who might not understand the difference between strength training and cross training, strength training is really going to be something that's very specific to building key muscle groups, strengthening key muscle groups. So it is going to be either body weight or working with pounds, working with weights. 2 areas that, and I made notes for you guys if you saw things to think about and things not to forget about. I do believe 100%, especially when you told me the time frame you were looking to hopefully finish the half marathon in. Strength training works your glutes and works those large muscle groups of your lower body, especially if you're doing a lower body strength training, which I've specified a couple days to just really focus in on lower body. Glutes, all roads, if you're a runner, all roads lead back to the butt. That is just the way it is. If you get injured as a runner and you go to PT, the first thing they're going to tell you, oh, your glutes are weak. Let's do some clamshells. Let's do some bridge lifts. Butt. I mean, a weak butt. Sometimes they refer to it as lazy butt in the PT.
We don't want that. We don't want that. We're trying to avoid the lazy butt.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, get that in. I mean, listen, I can give you so many stories of runners that I've coached that have not put strength training in. And then when they get with me and I'm like, strength training, you're going to do it. All of them are like, it's a huge noticeable difference. Like, why was I never doing that before? So,
Now, would you also say that if people aren't doing that, and I'm not saying this is out of personal experience, that those people trying to put in a ton of miles will more easily get injured?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I would put money down on that fact because having worked, Annie, as you know, both of us working in a physical therapy clinic, that is what we saw when we would see injuries in runners. It usually tended to be because they were lacking in the strength training department. Because again, the runner mind, let's just run all the miles because we're training to run a race. So,
that's like literally exactly what I've always thought is like, oh, you just need to keep running, just do more miles. So will you be able to describe some ways we can get our butts in gear? Like how we can work our butt? And also we turn into middle school boy. I'm sorry.
I know. Listen, I was literally about to say the butt is my specialty, but then I knew we'd all crack up over that.
Well, great. That's great. We like to hear that.
Strengthening is.
I don't. So
Kick our butts.
we're recording this. We're recording so people can hear it. Put on the podcast. This is already super helpful for me because I think I'm
Super
more
helpful.
motivated by not being injured
Mhm.
in this whole process than anything else. I
Mhm.
think that, I mean, Anthony and I are now 13 years into this, right, Tone? Where this is probably something we should have been doing. I'm assuming
Totally.
this is injury is such a huge block for folks, right? And so we have run long races injured before.
Yep.
And I think probably we could have avoided that with just a couple with and people have been begging us to get a coach for a long time, but just with somebody saying like, no, you that part of your body is not strong. And so this other part of your body is going to get injured, even if they're not completely connected to each other. And so that is,
But they are, dude. The butt bone connects
exactly connects to the
Exactly.
bottom of your foot.
It's like watching
all
Mr.
connected.
Do you remember Mr. Goodbody? Did you ever have to watch
for
him
sure.
in school?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And so
Totally.
you learn about all the muscle
Yeah.
and ligament, how they're all
And they're all
connected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, we got to get a Mr. Goodbody.
We
I don't
should
know,
get
picture
two
to look
Mr.
at.
Good Bodies
and racing
And
them for your
run it.
half marathon.
running those.
Good idea.
Oh, the
Okay,
image.
so then I don't think did we get to what the difference between that and cross training is?
Yeah, so cross training, so that's going to be a day in which it's going to be something separate from whatever the activity is that you are doing as your goal. So runners, that would be our main activity, right? We're runners. Cross training is going to be anything besides running. So swimming, walking, biking, anything that is going to work muscles in a separate way than running does. It's just, it's a way to help your body and your joints still have, cardiovascular health and aerobic exercise without pounding the pavement on the joints in the same way.
Oh, I see. So it's actually sort of like a rest day.
It's like
that
active recovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's taking you off of that. You just used that word pounding. I always think about that when I'm running.
Yeah.
Too. Just the amount of times I'm just slamming myself against pavement.
Yes.
It's to keep you exercising without that same repetitive thing over and over again.
So that is of the non-running days on that. Everything highlighted is a running day that I had on
Got
here.
it.
Yep.
So, all right. So now should we talk about the running days?
Laura, this is all of that you just talked about is all new to us. I mean, I think we have it would be cool to do some squats and stuff in the distant past. But having that as a part of the schedule,
Right. So we just need to know what we should do during that time.
Mm-hmm.
What should we do? What should we do?
Which is everybody's
during strength? And I also see something about brownies on here, but is that say brownie?
Brownie points.
Oh yeah, brownie
yeah.
points.
Oh man, I wanted brownies.
I just saw brownies on there.
Is that how it's supposed to be spelled? Who knows?
Yeah. No, you did great. I was just scanning this, and then all of a sudden I saw a brownie, and I was like, "Wait, what?" But we'll get there.
This is a new teaching.
No, Laura's the best trainer ever. She includes brownies in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to strength training, and you'll notice on the plan, separate from what I'm your chunk of strength training, it says 10-minute core.
Right.
This is because nobody ever wants to work their core. But I find if I get specific and I put it on a training plan for runners, the people have that brain that goes, I've got to check mark that off. I have to do it.
Yep.
I must do it.
And what are you considering the core, Laura?
Sometimes I refer to it as your corset
Yep.
because it covers if you know what a corset looks like, it's the area that a corset covers. And those muscles like the transverse, they are your corset muscles. That's what keeps you upright.
And it's not just the front, it's the sides and the back too, right? Okay.
Yes. So the stronger your core, especially the transverse, because that helps us sit up tall, it'll keep that body in that upright position. And as will, and like I made a note on this, it was strength training. So will upper body work.
Okay.
If you ever remember from any of your past distance races, you reach a point where you might start feeling your like trapezius muscles. Everything starts to get tight and sore, and you're like, because you are moving. So runners always think, well, I got to run, so I better work my lower body. the upper body is just as important
Okay.
because that's what
great.
keeps propelling you forward.
Cool.
The key to anything that works the lower half of your body is you have to do what I refer to as pinch the penny. They used to tell us this when I was a majorette. Pinch the penny. So imagine you were holding on to a penny.
Yep.
Don't drop it. Not with your fist, though. We're going back to that
with
middle
your
school
butt.
boy. But yes.
Pinch the penny with your butt. We need
don't
don't
drop the
to
penny.
Engage. That's to engage the muscles and keep them engaged.
Yes,
you're pinching the
deeply engaging. So each time you lift up, there's that sensation of like, I'm going to pinch the penny. I'm pinching the penny. Don't drop the penny. Pinch the penny.
Everybody who's listening right now
great.
is probably
everybody
right
pinch
now,
the penny right now. Pinch everybody. Clench it.
Don't drop the penny.
Pinch the penny.
Don't drop it.
Okay.
Pinch it.
Love it.
All right. Well, I think we should get to the real thing that
runs?
made me freak out on this was the runs. And it looks like the runs are 1, 2, 3.
Just 3.
3 times a week.
And once a month you have a naked run.
Which is
I'm super pumped about that.
A watch?
Yes.
Okay.
It is without any electronics whatsoever. It's all based on feel.
Wow. Okay.
Now there's all kinds of different rules of thought on this.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who will run 5 days a week and that's how they train is there's 5 days of running. There are people who the whole mentality of run less, run more, that whole don't run a lot, don't put a lot of mileage on your body and yet you'll get faster and you'll be able to run longer. I have always, because my original coach was Jeff Galloway. And so his is the 2 maintenance runs during the week and then your long run on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always been my school of thought. Now, I have runners that need more that in their life than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll throw extra runs. But what I tend to find happen is people's everyday life schedule, they can't run every day or they're good. Like 2 maintenance runs a week, being very specific in the maintenance runs, are just as beneficial than if I had you go out and do like 3 miles every day.
Okay.
So 60-minute versus the 75-minute. Now, this is where you freaked out.
Uh-huh.
Depending on what your pace is, this will change for everybody, right?
Uh-huh.
So 60 minutes to someone else might even be like 4 miles, not even in that 6, they might not be hitting that 10K under 60. So now that I know where you're standing as far as how much mileage you get within that time frame, then I would manipulate it back a little bit.
Okay.
So when I was talking about your goals, right? And you had mentioned in the DM 2:30, right? That was a
2-hour, 30-minute half marathon. Yeah.
I decided based off of that conversation, that DM, that your Thursday runs would be interval running, which if you are new to interval running is where we push you forward, we pull you back. We push you forward, we push you back.
Okay.
You will notice only having 1 day a week. It's kind of like meatless Mondays. Only having 1 day a week of which you are doing interval running, you will become actually a faster, stronger runner.
Okay.
Just by having that one day.
Cool.
And I will also tell you that if you do them, you will have this moment. I mean, I'm like saying you'll have it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be like, this is garbage. But you will have this moment where you are like, I could run forever. Like that's the kind of confidence it builds in your body. So by the time race day comes around, your body is so equipped. I mean, Galloway is always talking, and that's of that Galloway mentality with that interval running. But he is talking about how that alone, 2-1 or creating an interval, you build up all of this base endurance.
Now, so how, since we've got more time than you originally thought, would you decrease that 60-minute time right away? Like 60. So you have 60 and 75. Would we decrease those to like 30 and 45? What do you think about that?
I would actually, since you have a month before you get there, so this month would be your base building month. I would keep that 75 as it is, because it is a interval run, which is different on your body. And you will feel to yourself, I honestly could run like this forever.
Right.
And then I would make that 60-minute a 45.
I mean, this whole thing is making it less scary. Just so you know,
just talking through it is making it less scary for sure.
Yeah.
Just got to do it.
I still feel a little bit overwhelmed because it's so much new stuff. But I think that's good.
Yes.
I don't know. It certainly takes the aimlessness out of this whole thing. This feels very directed.
Yes.
It feels very like we have a goal. There's different things you're doing, so it's mixed up and not boring.
Yes.
So that I don't know how you're feeling right now, Anthony, but I'm feeling kind of this a little bit of a mix of overwhelmed, but also like, it's nice to have some direction, even if a lot of it is new.
I want somebody to do this for for every aspect of my life. Like I want a training plan.
An Excel spreadsheet.
I want an Excel spreadsheet for like my spiritual life. I want an Excel spreadsheet for like my reed making, for my bastooning, for my fatherhood. Like I want somebody to make a detailed plan like this, and then I also want to be able to have the faithfulness to do it all.
That's exactly how I feel.
I'll tell you, I read something today, and I thought, oh man, this is so great for the podcast today. It said, get away from the idea of motivation being the only thing that's going to propel you forward, because motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. We have it for a little bit and then it's out the door. Discipline is where you need to put all of your chips.
Yeah.
Because discipline is what gets you to your goal. But listen, I wanted to tell you really quick too. So you have a month prior to the actual start date time.
Yep.
So what I always try to tell my runners is, now this is your base building time. This is your time to keep doing what you're doing, which is casual mileage. We want to keep you at a nice base level.
So we don't necessarily have to be super concerned about hitting like 5, 6, 7 miles this month. Now it's just right now it's just getting out there and running.
Now it's just consistent, just getting back into the habit of getting up in the morning or when you get up. And it really is. Base building is just maintenance work until, and I always say like the week before you start a training plan, I have this little thing I'll send you all, which is like, it's a week before. Here's things to think about.
Okay.
Are your running clothes clean? Do you have enough socks?
Yeah.
Do you have, so that you are as like the same way you would prepare your kids for, the week before school.
Sure.
Or it's like, okay, let's start making sure your nutrition is in a good place and you're sleeping and you've got, you've told your family that we're doing this big thing again, all those little checklists. And then, because really you always want to go into a training cycle at your best possible health.
Right. Man, it's a ton. It's a lot. We have to wrap up because I got to go. This training plan is going to probably evolve and change a little bit, which is such a relief. I think it's great to have a coach that's willing to work with us. But Laura, before we totally wrap this up, I'm just wondering if there's a way for others to find you, to reach out to you, maybe if they're looking for coaching. Is there great ways for people to contact you?
Yeah, they can DM me over on Instagram always at LauraFry_NYC. I'm always on there. Or they can email me at laurafryfitness@gmail.com.
We'll put both of those links in the podcast description so people can reach out and contact you if they'd like to.
Sweet. And they can also find me over on YouTube as well. I have a running YouTube channel, Laura Runs and Eats.
Laura Runs and Eats on YouTube.
Just two of my favorite things.
Sweet. Well, listeners, we want to hear your feedback on this. What do you think about all this? This is a lot of information. How do you feel, listener, about us having a training plan finally? Any thoughts on this? A great way to contact us, best way, is to go to bit.ly/runnersblock. There you can find all of our socials, website, Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, all of that is at Two Gomers. You can also call us on the Gomer phone. That number, Anthony, is
608 NBA Pony. That's 608-622-7669.
Go to Apple Podcasts if you're not there already. Leave us some feedback. That helps us get into more ears. If you like what you hear, this is maybe your first episode because you're like, ooh, a training plan. You can check out our 10th anniversary episodes. That's September to November 2018. That gives a good idea of who we are, our vibe. Then you can go all the way back to the start. Thank you, Adam, our webmaster, Davis for our music, Jason for our artwork, Annie for our social media. Thanks to our almost 200 Gomertrons who support and subscribe to us on our second podcast.